What if the worst thing that ever happened to you turned out to be the greatest gift of your life? And what if the best thing was only the beginning of something even bigger? Most people are quick to label events as good luck or bad luck, but one farmer learned a deeper truth. Sometimes things are neither good nor bad. They simply are, and only time reveals what they truly mean. In the rolling farmlands just outside Ames, Iowa, where endless fields of corn sway under vast blue skies, lived a farmer named Jack. He worked the same 200 acres his grandfather had cleared decades earlier. Life moved in a steady, honest rhythm. Plant in spring, harvest in fall, repair what breaks, and begin again. He wasn't rich, but he had enough. Enough land, enough food, enough peace. To Jack, that was plenty. One early spring morning, his best horse, Dusty, the powerful gray that pulled the plow as if it weighed nothing, ran off and disappeared into the horizon. By afternoon, the neighbors had gathered along the fence. "Jack, that's terrible luck," one said, shaking his head. Jack looked out at the empty pasture, then shrugged calmly. "Maybe," he replied. "We'll see." The very next morning, Dusty returned, and he was not alone. 6 wild horses followed him across the field, manes flying in the wind. The neighbors rushed over, eyes wide. "Jack, this is incredible luck. You've gained 6 horses overnight." Jack watched the horses graze and smiled quietly. "Maybe," he said. "We'll see." Over the following weeks, Jack and his son Ethan gently trained the wild horses. He sold 4 of them for a handsome price and used the money to buy a brand new tractor, the one he had needed for years. But one afternoon, before the last 2 horses were fully broken, Ethan decided to take a ride on one. The horse bucked violently. Ethan was thrown hard and his leg snapped. Once again the neighbors came, faces full of sorrow. "That's awful luck, Jack. Just terrible." Jack sat beside his son's bed in the dim lamplight, holding the boy's hand. He looked at the cast, then at Ethan, and spoke the same 4 words. "Maybe. We'll see." Weeks turned into months. While the rest of the county watched their sons pack their bags, the Selective Service Board came through. Even after World War II had ended, young men were still being called up. One by one, boys from neighboring farms were sent away. Families stood on porches, waving goodbye with heavy hearts. But Ethan's name was passed over. His broken leg had not yet healed. But he was declared unfit to serve. He stayed home. As the bone mended, Ethan began working the farm again, slowly at first, then with growing purpose. He learned to read the soil, repair the equipment, manage the seasons, and care for the animals. The boy who once complained about chores fell quietly in love with the land. Years passed. Jack's health slowly faded, but by then, Ethan was ready. He took over the farm with strong hands and a patient heart. The fields flourished under his care. One golden evening, the neighbors stood along the fence line watching the sunset paint the corn. One of them finally broke the long silence. "Jack, all that so-called bad luck turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to you." Jack gazed across the swaying fields his son now tended. A gentle smile crossed his face. "Maybe," he said. "We'll see." Jack lived long enough to watch his grandchildren chase fireflies through the same fields where he had once walked as a young man. Over a lifetime, he learned what few people ever do. Life rarely reveals the full meaning of an event on the day it happens. Sometimes it takes seasons, sometimes it takes decades. So Jack stopped labeling things as good or bad. He simply met each moment as it came, with open hands and a steady heart. And somehow, everything found its place. The next time something bad happens in your life, a missed opportunity, a painful loss, a plan that collapses, a door that slams shut, pause before you name it. Take a breath and say the words Jack learned to live by. Maybe. We'll see. Because your story isn't over yet. What feels like the end of the road today may simply be the beginning of a better chapter. The next page is still being written.